If we competed against each other, I mean, you're going to beat me. I know that. But
why? Why do you say that?
I mean, Anthony Mantello is well over 20 pounds of muscle bigger than Jesse James West. It's night and day. Natural versus enhanced. Anthony Mantello simply has better genetics.
We both like equally have great genetics, but you got more size.
You know me. Tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Coach Greg, in today's video, we're going over Jesse James West, Anthony Mantello, and Coach Kyle talking about everything related to bodybuilding, dieting, natural status, what do steroids do, what's it like to be a YouTuber, everything. And so stay tuned. Let's get right into it. And so my name was brought up a number of times. I'm happy to see that people are listening to my suggestions and having a debate. And so is Coach Greg right? Or am I wrong?
The first like week or so after the show genuinely was just like, okay, I'm still like feeling show prep. Like I was like not the lightest I was anymore, but I still felt the same feelings. Like maybe it was hormonally.
Following the show after a week, he's starting to eat more calories. But remember, he just finished a very long prep, was approaching 6% body fat. And so he had lower levels of testosterone, and that takes a long time to come back. You can't just suddenly have a cheat meal and expect to feel amazing. It can often take weeks and or months to recover back to normal following a bodybuilding competition. And remember, Jesse, I do believe, did this 100% natural. He showed his blood work, and following the competition, he was actually at 476. He felt normal. And oftentimes people have testosterone dysmorphia. They think that when their testosterone levels are below 500 or even 600, that's somehow low. Jesse consistently shows testosterone levels in the 400s and 500s, and look at this guy's physique. And so do you really think he's deficient in testosterone? Do you really think he needs to go to some anti-aging clinic, be prescribed clomiphene or HCG just because his testosterone levels around 500? Of course not. It's ridiculous. He feels great. He's healthy. And so for Jesse to take HRT or anything remotely close to resembling that makes no sense.
And I remember one day, literally, I was just like, I think I was just driving. And I kid you not. I'm driving and I go, oh my God. And I was like, I'm normal.
And so it took him about a month to feel back to normal. 1 or 2 weeks into it, he's driving and he's like, wow, I actually have energy. I can do a shoulder check. And trust me, it took me weeks. After a bodybuilding show, even a week later, going for a walk, very difficult. Although I'm eating plenty of food, it takes time for your body to get back to normal. And so he stopped recording videos and he just went about his life. He wanted to feel like a normal human being. And so I caution you, anyone interested in competing, this is what it's like. It is a life-changing decision. It is so difficult that if you do this, you may not be the same person ever again.
But it was just like really interesting to see how manipulative you can be with posing.
Yeah.
Like I looked 200 pounds. And I was 171.
And so remember, Jesse, only 171 pounds, about 5'9.5" tall. Many people stated, no way are you natural. But remember, when you are shredded, your body looks much bigger than it really is. In particular, with the special tan, the oil, and being pumped up, you can look incredible. He states, I look between 190 or even 200 pounds.
It's going to be same show I always do. Not the same show, same venue, T-Neck. I'm doing that show. We got to requalify, and I want to do men's physique, classic physique, and bodybuilding.
Really?
Yeah, I want to try to do all three.
And so in April next year, Anthony Mantello is going to compete in all three categories: men's physique, classic physique, and bodybuilding. And you're thinking, how is that possible? How can he compete in all three classes? Well, here's how. The same look wins them all. There's no difference between a Mr. Olympia men's physique competitor and one who can win classic physique and or bodybuilding. You take the largest men's physique competitors in the world and you put them on posing trunks and do a front double biceps. They're quite literally bigger than me, and I'm a professional bodybuilder. What does Anthony Mantello have to do? Why hasn't he got his pro card yet? He's not big enough. Years ago, perhaps 5 or 10 years ago, he easily would have turned pro. But every single year, the standards have gone up. Most recently, they've adjusted the standards. They now have a weight cap for each height. Thank goodness they're trying to do something. But my personal preference, how it should be, is to just reward smaller competitors. Why does it have to be the biggest guy that wins a show? Why can't it be quality over quantity? And of course, Anthony Mantello is not natural. In comparison to Jesse, they ask each other, why would you beat me? Why am I better than you? Jesse James could not beat Anthony Mantello, and the reason is he doesn't have steroids. But not only that, Anthony also has superior genetics to Jesse James West. You're thinking, well, how do you know? Why is this? Anthony has wider shoulders and a smaller waist, and even if Jesse were on steroids, Anthony would still have a better quality physique. It's simply better genetics. You can train as hard as you want, but you have to be born looking like Anthony to develop a physique exactly as his.
At least on the Olympia level, you'll see a guy like Chris Bumstead. Like, could he do well in open? Sure, but would he win open? No, there's guys that are a little bit bigger than him, I would say.
And so they bring up Chris Bumstead's name. Could Chris Bumstead compete in open bodybuilding? Yes. Would he win? Probably some shows, perhaps a lower level show, but at the Olympia stage, he wouldn't win open bodybuilding. He would need more size, perhaps 20, maybe even 30 pounds of muscle. But if you were to ever see Chris Bumstead in person, in particular with his shirt off flexing, you would be shocked at the muscle he has. And as far as Urs goes, Jesse collaborated with Urs. I also did the same thing. The guy was 270 pounds. He's not even 6 feet tall. He looks like an open class competitor. And so all of you are thinking, classic physique, that's attainable. No, it's not. It's not even close. Classic physique is bodybuilding. The only difference is they have a smaller waist and they care about their aesthetics more so than in bodybuilding. Some of the guys get away with having a thicker waist. But for the most part, aside from the largest monsters in the world, everyone who wants to be a bodybuilder can quite literally compete in classic physique.
Like, you look at C-Bom, and yes, he's absolutely
He looks
massive.
huge on social media, but in person, you're like, oh, wow, he looks like this too.
But like,
Is that what you're saying?
Like what I'm saying, like when I see him on stage in a photo, looks big, but he almost doesn't look like too big. But then I feel like if you see him in person off season, you're like, what the?
Really?
Because Urs, bro, Urs is so big.
And so my personal opinion is classic physique has also gotten way out of hand. Men's physique, classic physique, it's gotten ridiculous. What I would do, I would lower the weight cap by 20 pounds. At least add in another category. 20 pounds smaller. Perhaps it could be drug tested for natural athletes. Guys like Jesse James West could stay natural and go for this. Or perhaps if they had this, Anthony Mantello would have stayed natural in the first place. And if you don't think you can be aesthetic 20 pounds smaller than the current weight caps, consider my own height. At 5'6", I'm allowed to weigh 193 pounds. Picture me 20 pounds smaller, 173. Have you seen me at 157? 157. That's literally 36 pounds lighter than the weight class. Do you not think that that's aesthetic? Would you not want to have that physique? And so why must the weight caps be so ridiculous? All it's doing is deterring people from having natural physique, encouraging more drug use, more heart attacks, and so it's simply making it unhealthy. Anyone who competes in bodybuilding, whether it's natural or enhanced, and they do discuss this in the video, it's not healthy. Neither is healthy. You want to compete enhanced? Not healthy. You want to compete natural? Also not healthy. And so you can have a debate as to which one is healthier. Of course, I'm going to say natural, but in either case, you are in fact going to suffer.
But how come nowadays, when someone says Mr. Olympia, they think C-Bom?
I mean, I would be surprised if there were not more people going to see C-Bom and C-Bom alone on top of every single other competitor combined. C-Bom is so popular, so important at the Mr. Olympia, that without him, it just wouldn't be the same. Imagine if Chris Bumstead decides to retire this year. It's simply not going to be the same without him. And what about the prize money? It's far lower, perhaps 10 times lower in classic physique than open bodybuilding. And why is that? Well, because they can get away with it. Do you really think people only compete for the money? People compete for free. Yeah, the money is a bonus. I competed as an IFBB pro several times, never made 1 cent from it. The majority of bodybuilders will never see a dime in competing in their entire life. And even if they do, they spend more on the drugs, the prep, and so on than they will ever win at the competition. But that is not why people bodybuild. People bodybuild and compete because they love the challenge. That's what I did it for. It was never about the money. It was because I had passion for the sport.
If we competed against each other,
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to beat me. I know that. But
Why? Why do you say that?
And so the question asks, who would win in a competition between Jesse James West and Anthony Mantello? And Jesse says, Anthony, you're going to beat me. Anthony responds, why is that, Jesse? I mean, Anthony Mantello is well over 20 pounds of muscle bigger than Jesse James West. It's night and day, natural versus enhanced. Also, Anthony Mantello simply has better genetics. Even if Jesse James were enhanced, I still believe Anthony Mantello would still come out on top. He simply has has the wider shoulders, the smaller waist, exactly what the judges are looking for.
I mean, bro, you got so much more size than me, dude.
Why is that, Jesse?
Like, we both like equally have great genetics, but you got more size.
And so Jesse says we equally have great genetics. You know me, tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
We both like equally have great genetics.
And so Anthony has far superior genetics to Jesse. I never once looked at Jesse James West and thought, this is a future IFBB pro. But in comparison, Anthony, I feel he's destined to become a pro. He has amazing genetics, even as a teenager. Even though he's years younger than Jesse, I still believe he has a superior physique. And so I'm not hating on Jesse. Jesse clearly has a better physique than 99% of the world. But Anthony is simply a level up.
Why?
Because I'm on trend
Say it.
and you're not.
Okay.
Was it
Step
hard
up.
for you?
What's that?
Was it hard for you
Being on trend?
to not be natty anymore? Was that like challenging?
And so Anthony and Kyle joke, is it hard not being natural anymore? Did it hard to come out? But in reality is he's still natural. He doesn't plan on taking anything unless, of course, he gets injured. At that point, he'd be willing to take peptides or anything in order to build muscle, or when he gets older. But for right now, he's not willing to cross that line. He's going to stay 100% natural. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Don't forget to watch one of the bloops. Of course, cookbooks, training books, coaching plans by me and my team, and the Harder Than Last Time clothing line. And until next time, I am out.